After ruling the Earth for approximately 160 million years, when the dinosaurs met their end, power shifted to a very different group of creatures, mammals. About 65 million years ago, when dinosaurs dominated the animal kingdom through sheer strength, there existed small creatures in the forest. Their existence meant nothing compared to giants like the dinosaurs. Defeating them in strength was impossible for these tiny mammals. But the future was already written in their favor. 60 million years ago, a catastrophic asteroid impact brought death to the dinosaurs. Some species died within minutes, while the remaining 10% of the population gradually became extinct. Now, let's continue this journey and discover how that 10% climbed down from the trees and how humans came to be. The end of the dinosaurs was the opportunity for mammals that reptiles had received when earlier dominant species vanished. In simple terms, it was time to establish their dominance in the wild. Mammals were species that had existed since the time of the dinosaurs. Being small in size meant these creatures survived where giants perished. When the asteroid struck and unleashed mass destruction, these mammals also lost many of their companions. But they managed to save their species. To escape the heat generated by this catastrophe, mammals began living underground. Being small worked to their advantage, while the dinosaurs' massive size became their greatest enemy. Living underground, mammals found relief from the heat and made insects and ants their prey. On the surface, environmental changes were slowly killing the remaining animals. The heat and dust clouds generated by the asteroid impact completely covered Earth's atmosphere. Sunlight could no longer reach the planet's surface. Many animals had already died from the surface heat. When this continued for years, plants completely vanished. Nature's ecosystem collapsed. Without sunlight, Earth gradually grew colder. By this time, the dinosaur population had become extinct. Only about 5% of animals survived, most of them from the mammal family. After the catastrophic effects subsided, survivors began to emerge. Earth's environment started normalizing again. The ecosystem began returning to its previous state. During this period, mammal species were limited to just 5%. But due to diversification, mammals began to evolve and many new species started emerging. In this process, approximately 55 million years ago, primates were born. The early primates' physical structure was quite different from today. Their eyes faced forward and their bodies were small, but this physical structure wouldn't remain the same for long. During this time period, an important evolution occurred in the primate brain, which also changed their spinal cord. Instead of walking on 4 legs, they learned to stand on 2 legs. Besides primates, evolution was also happening in Earth's plants and environment. They had completely returned to normal form, and Earth's temperature had reached about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. About 45 million years ago, changes also made our days 24 hours long. Along with this, our tectonic plates also shifted. Until then, all continents were in their respective positions, but one new formation remained. Under this, 2 large landmasses moved from their places and came close to each other. Along with this, massive changes came to weather patterns. Due to this collision, some of the world's tallest peaks in the Rockies were also formed. And with this formation, it was determined that in the coming future, several major rivers would also form, which would significantly change the entire continent's landscape. While development had started in one part of the Earth, on the other hand, animals were also changing themselves considerably through evolution. As continents reached their current positions, forests were declining heavily, and mainly grasslands were forming. Animals were adapting to live in grasslands, and new species were developing who were trying to establish dominance in the grasslands. Although old mammals didn't have the ability to kill and eat other animals, now evolved mammals had developed the strength to hunt and kill other animals. They were succeeding in establishing their dominance over other animals. Now the situation in the jungle was the same as that of the dinosaurs who once ruled the Earth. About 10 million years ago, Earth had come into that form in which we see it today. Everything from the environment to plants was in its fully evolved form. Earth had everything, but there was still one species missing, and that species was going to change Earth's history in the coming future. Yes, that species was humans. About 4 million years ago, a major upheaval occurred on Earth again, and in the eastern regions of Africa, a new mountain range developed, which later became known as the Great Rift Valley of Africa. With the formation of this mountain range, not only did the geographical situation change, but seasonal winds also changed. The flow of air decreased in the forests there, preventing seasonal winds from reaching them. Due to lack of moisture, forests began to dry up. Because of no rain, this region of Africa became very dry. But the animals living in this forest didn't give up. In this very region of Africa lived Australopithecus, who would later be called our ancestors. These tree-dwelling apes used their front hands to move from one branch to another, and sometimes they would also stand on two legs on trees. Although they couldn't walk on the ground yet, the ability to stand upright had already developed in them. This shows that walking on two legs was not a human discovery, but an ape discovery. The only difference was that they lived in trees but would soon descend to the ground due to climate change. Some of these species evolved into chimpanzees, while others evolved to become humans. Their coming generations left the trees and took to the ground for survival and expansion. Australopithecus were the first who came down from trees to the ground in search of food and a new home. In this evolution spanning millions of years, they had spread to every region of Africa. But their arms were still quite long because of swinging around in trees. After going through thousands of years of development, considerable changes began occurring in their physical structure. Now they could walk better on two legs and save more energy. They could see farther, find their food, and eat it with the help of their hands. This process of evolution would continue with time, causing changes not only in their physical structure, but also in their facial features. The head, which was previously small, now grew larger. 2.3 million years ago, Homo habilis were human ancestors whose brain size increased. Due to increased size, they learned how to use intelligence for their survival. Demonstrating intelligence brilliantly, our ancestors first learned to sharpen stones as weapons. As soon as this trick worked, Homo habilis learned how to use stones as weapons. As they used these weapons, the strength in their hand, fingers, and thumbs also increased. Now they learned how to hunt easily using weapons and satisfy their hunger. Homo erectus were the first ancestors who started hunting in groups. They also made the first discovery that would change humanity's future. We all know that fire's discovery was the greatest discovery in human history. With the use of fire, Homo erectus soon learned to cook and eat meat. Fire not only provided our ancestors protection from the cold, but also encouraged them to use their brains. If you're wondering how, let me tell you that using fire reduced the energy needed to chew food. Now they began using this energy for the development of intelligence, which is why coming generations were born with bigger brains. With a bigger brain, approximately 200,000 years ago, humans evolved into their current form. Their vocal cords also developed into different structures, which allowed them to make different sounds and communicate with their people. Once voice developed, humans began conveying their thoughts to others and gradually learned to live in a social structure. Although we had come into our current form, many inventions were still pending. Building a society, home, and city for ourselves was still remaining. Today, although humans are in their advanced stage, evolution is still ongoing. Humans are still changing, and their evolution continues. If I explain this entire evolution process in detail, this video would become very long. If you'd like, I can definitely make a part 2 of this series. So please mention in the comments if you want a part 2.